Okay, hello. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the organization of the Noviwam project for inviting us and sharing our story about the Innowater project. And I would also like to take the opportunity to compliment the organization with this conference, which, at least for me, has been a very good experience so far. Today, I will share the first results and the concept of the Innowater project with you. In the past years, the European Water Partnership has been coordinating the activities of this project, which has as the main goal to support innovation of starting companies in the water sector and develop delivery mechanisms, and also to connect the developers, the water innovators who provide new technologies with first users and the water using industry. And we have partners from several countries in Europe, so international collaboration was one of the main goals of the project. I work for the European Water Partnership, and that organization is an independent, value-based, non-profit organization structured as an open, inclusive member association. That means that we have a lot of companies that are members of us, and we work very closely with Brussels to harness a European capacity, which means that we coordinate initiatives and activities in international water issues and undertake worldwide promotion of European expertise related to water. And our ultimate goal is to elaborate strategies and implement concrete actions to achieve the objectives of the water vision for Europe. In concrete terms, it means that we help projects to develop, and we also help existing projects to spread their outcomes and to work in communication fields. The Innowater project is developed because at the moment we have a lot of global challenges in the water sector which need solutions, which are partly developed by water innovators, which are small SMEs, spin-offs from university, and other high R&D intensive companies. So the global challenges lead for opportunities for SMEs, but it's not enough to only develop these technologies. As most of you probably know, it's also very important for them to penetrate the markets and to find the users for these technologies. And the Innowater project was started because there's a big gap at the moment between the development of these technologies and the actual implementations of those technologies. So in the project, we try to help them, support them to find their markets. So the process we have in a project is that we support the adaptation, the validation, the implementation, and a demonstration at the industrial scale. And these 4 steps are the first phase in actually solving all our water challenges. And especially for starting innovative SMEs, this is a real challenge, because most of the time they have new solutions which have not been proven yet. So it's much harder to sell them to users because, of course, there's a high level of uncertainty and also often a high level of investment, which makes it very hard for these SMEs to penetrate the market and exchange existing solutions for new ones, which might be better, but are also a bit more exciting for first water-using companies to implement. Well, we are a public-private partnership. We have 15 partners from 6 European countries. We have public innovation agencies, water association, technology specialists, innovation experts, and eco-innovative cluster organizations. The main goals we identified when we started the project is the identification of key institution and support programs, identification, development, and testing of promising methods and tools to facilitate technology and knowledge transfer. I'll get back at this one. And providing practical business support tools for SMEs, the innovative SMEs in the water sector. And we focus on promoting innovative water technologies with first users. So that's the demand side. The main goal of the Innowater project is to bridge the gap between research innovators in the international markets and potential users of innovative technologies. So basically bridging the gap between the supply of technologies and the demand for water technologies. And therefore, we provide sustainable water management support to water-using industries to support them in identifying and addressing their water consumption challenges. By doing this, we mainly focus on supporting the water-using industries with not only solving their problems, but also making them aware of the opportunities they have, and also the opportunities they have to anticipate on future legislation, and of course take competitive advantages by implementing innovative water technologies. Therefore, we developed 3 tools. We have a water innovation quick scan for water using industries. That's a short scan that gives a broad overview of the water use of big companies. That could be agriculture, food industries, industrial industries, practically every company that uses a substantial amount of water. We also, within the EWP, we developed the European Water Stewardship. I will come back at that as well. And we have done some water audits, also in Spain, in Navarra, here before. And what we do for the supply side, so the water innovators in the water sector, is provide matchmaking opportunities by matching the supply and the demands from the different countries that participate in the project. We do this by organizing water technology roadshows. In these roadshows, we physically bring together the suppliers of innovative water technology with the water-using industries. And before we host these technology roadshows, we first make an inventarization and a report about the situation of the several countries that are participating, so that it's not just good luck, but it's also a little bit facilitating to really get people to work together. And the other thing that we do for international matchmaking is hosting international scouting missions. In these missions, a couple of experts from the project are visiting Mexico, China, and South Africa to represent all the companies that are being represented in the cluster. So all the eco-innovative cluster organizations that we have and the innovation consultants first contact their own organizations to see what they can bring and what their potential might be in the countries. And then we go there and we make the first contacts and we provide the first steps in possible international collaboration to provide a soft landing for SMEs. And we basically do that to enhance the capacity of SMEs because it's turned out to be quite difficult, especially for small companies, to find markets outside of Europe. So this is how we're trying to support them there. And we also, one of the core business of the Innowater project is to provide business support to the water innovators. And we do this to help them to successfully bring their water technologies to the market. And to do this, we developed the business proposition toolkit, the BPT. And we did that with all the expertise from within our project, from all the partners and the clusters. So it's a very extensive tool, a method that needs to be guided by consultants and by people who also have the expertise. But it does provide a framework for starting companies to help them to develop their own business. Well, why do we have the BPT? That's a logical question, I think. What we find in the project, and what was also the reason for focusing on this specific tool, is that a lot of starting companies in the water sector do have a good and high potential technique or a technology or an idea, but sometimes it's difficult for them to put that into the right business model that suits their market and that also brings their idea in a clear way to their potential first users and from the people who could buy it from them. So what we are doing, we are basically supporting the SMEs to create the most appropriate business model which reflects the ends of the end users, their market, but also involves the local market conditions. So basically we provide additional expertise and skills for the water innovators to not only being very successful in developing new technologies, but also become really successful in being an entrepreneur and selling their products. Okay, the BPT, what is it? Well, basically the BPT provides an extended business support framework by providing the most important themes that lead to success for small businesses. What the BPT does is helping the BPTs, the SMEs, in articulating a robust value proposition and an appropriate business model. What we found is that some of the SMEs do have a very high potential product, but they don't really know how to sell it or to explain it even to their potential market and to their users. So our consultants help them and our partners help them in creating a very good story among their technology so that it's easier to explain and easier to sell. And the business model support is also a very important part of the BPT because sometimes a new way of thinking or outside expertise could help companies to have a more successful way of making money. For example, we had one company who wanted to sell products, but when they started working within a project, they realized that it was not so much about selling their product, but it was more about selling their knowledge. So in the end, they ended up with leasing a product and selling their knowledge instead of just doing a one-time transaction. So that's how we're just thinking and supporting the SMEs in how they could set up their business. Well, the target group are SMEs in the water sector that are in the early stages of commercializing a new product or service, and especially those who really could use a little bit of help because their product is quite challenging and needs to be tested and needs to be technological validated. The BPT is built up of 3 models. Together with an expert, all the SMEs go through the process of the concept validation, which is basically about does the concept work and is this concept really ready to use and is there demand for the concept? Then the experts help them in developing the right business model. And in the end, when all that is done, the experts also think about the commercialization. And in the last phase, apart from supporting them in the paper, they also really actively help them with finding the right contacts and making the first step in their own market. So it's an expert-led process. It addresses the gaps and weaknesses in the existing business proposition, and it's an active guidance and support in creating or improving a credible business model. So it's really a focus on helping and supporting the needs of the SMEs. We don't have experts that want to change or want to tell the businesses what to do. They really want to support them in bringing their own product successfully in the market in a way that is most applicable to them. So that's the focus. And next to that, we also provide state-of-the-art market insight and feedback. At the beginning of the project, we did extensive research in all the markets the project is working on, and with all the people who work with us and cooperate in the project, we share the knowledge and we help them to use the knowledge in their own business model development. The other part that the other goal that we are addressing in the project is the demand side. So that's more about the water using industries. And all the companies that could use a little support in getting more insight in their own water use and also getting a better view and insight in the possibilities to improve their sustainable water management. In order to do this, the EWP did develop the European Water Stewardship. This is a standard certification method to help water using industries implementing sustainable water management practices. The European Water Stewardship was developed to answer the needs from companies, but also from the politics, to have a one kind of certification that gives an idea about how sustainable water use is. And therefore, we have a very funded and very theoretically underlined tool right now, which has been tested, among others, on airports and in agriculture. And what it basically is, it offers an integrative system for the business and agriculture to assess, verify, and communicate their sustainable water management practices. So in the first place, it gives insight in where the company is standing, but it also helps to communicate sustainable water management, and it also gives some kind of a hold on how to improve sustainable water management practices. And the good thing about the EWS is that it's supported by the relevant stakeholders. So actually we are answering the questions from the agriculture and the businesses itself to improve and to communicate what they are doing on a sustainable water management. Namely, those are the businesses, agriculture, and also civil society are partners of the EWS. Well, this gives a very short overview on how it works, basically, the AWS. We have developed the standard, which is being guided by a glossary and guidelines. Then, after that, we have the inspection and a certification scheme for the businesses. And once the certification has been done, we also support you in how to communicate your sustainable water management. And the practical thing about the Innowater project is that we, with using both the business proposition toolkits and the European water stewardship, is that we can connect both the supply in the water sector, the innovations, with the demand. Because the ultimate goal of the project is to help water-using industries by using the European water stewardship to identify their challenges and, if possible, connect them with the water innovators which are being addressed in the other side of the project, and in the end bring them together so that the innovators can actually really help and address the water challenges from the demand side. Well, we have 3 levels of European water stewardship that you can get after being certified. It's the bronze one, the silver one, and a gold one. And in the end, we aim at that the European water stewardship provides a prime example of how to create a voluntary systems, because that is what it is. It is purely voluntary, that contribute to sustainable water management in Europe by providing standardization. And that also means that the European water stewardship should be a standard that is accepted through the whole of Europe. So it really gives you an idea on where you stand on your sustainable water management, and also gives you the tools to improve your sustainable water management, and when you've done that, how to communicate that you are working on that as a company. Okay.